call our meeting to order. All rise and please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, might I have the roll call, please?
Jennifer Eden. Here. Mike Cunningham.
Here.
Kurt Schultz.
Here.
Chuck Schultz.
Here.
Soren Peterson.
Here.
And David Walker's absent.
This time I'd like to suspend our regular board meeting to conduct a public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to explain and answer questions pertaining to the role and to hear objections to the role for the Laurel Springs Waste Removal Project. If you'd like to speak against this, please stand, state your name, address for the record. Do we have any comments? Being that there's none, we'll go ahead and we'll close the public hearing and we'll reconvene our regular board meeting. So do we have any changes to the agenda? No changes? I'll entertain the motion.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Next is approval of the consent agenda. The regular board meeting minutes from August 6, 2019, the treasurer's report, and the clerk's warrants and bills.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, communications. We have 3 items. Item number 1 is the AT&T Michigan Annual Video Report from August 9th, 2019. The Planning Commission meeting synopsis from August 13, 2019, and the Planning Commission approved meeting minutes from July 11th, 2019.
June.
Did I say July? I said June. I'm sorry. Let me stand corrected. June 11th. Thank you.
Make a motion to place them on file.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to place communications 1 through 3 on file. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Next is public remarks. If anybody would like to make any comments about anything, now's the time to do it. We'll have one more chance at the end of the meeting. I think I know why most of you are here, and I've heard a lot of the remarks, so thank you for showing. We have no unfinished business, so we're going to move into new business. Item number 1 is the resolution to confirm the Laurel Springs Waste Removal Special Assessment Role. This is in conjunction with them repaving the roads. They're gonna go to a single waste hauler, so.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to confirm the Laurel Springs Waste Removal Special Assessment Role. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
Jennifer Eden.
Yes.
Mike Cunningham.
Yes.
Kurt Schultz.
Yes.
Soren Peterson.
Yes.
And I say yes.
That resolution passes. Next is item number 2, a regulatory ordinance, which probably is a resolution since it's a regulatory ordinance, would be number 49. It's residential outdoor lighting. We had a situation arise earlier this year that brought this on. I made contact with the resident and asked them if they would kindly tone down their lighting, and he said that he would, and I told him that if he wouldn't, then the township would pass a regulatory ordinance and he wouldn't like it. So this is where we're at. Actually, Marcy, I don't know if you have that picture available. This is just one of many pictures. This is an aerial photo of this guy's lighting. As you can see, the light penetration is not only infringing upon the neighbors' homes. I was out there at night. He had just part of this lit, and it was coming all the way across the lake. I've seen photos where, the whole lake is illuminated. It's far-reaching. So we didn't have anything in place, and we talked about doing a zoning ordinance, and a zoning ordinance would allow this to be grandfathered in. So we decided that we would do a regulatory ordinance once there's no grandfather clause. Ross helped develop this. Ross, did you have anything additional that you would like to add pertaining to this?
I mean, the ordinance itself, it's basically designed to regulate the amount of a property line from a residential property.
Right.
Of instances where we did have the attorney go verify that it should be.
You know, I guess if I'm looking for a word to describe this particular situation, it's obnoxious.
Is it gonna require people doing, outdoor landscape lighting to get permitting?
It's more of, it's in line with how we treat the. So if there is a situation where lighting being put off is unreasonable, out there and measure it based on the foot candles that we have in here, which I have a few of these numbers highlighted.
Now, is that device measured by the police,
It
or
would
is?
be a light meter, it'd be something that could be utilized by the police,
Yeah.
that would most likely be the enforcement.
Nothing we have?
You can actually download an
There's
app.
apps for it, we would probably wanna get something a little bit more accurate for law enforcement purposes, but they're inexpensive. Like, foot candles is a fairly,
And then the number for foot candles, will you share with how you came up with that?
yeah, so basically I looked at a number of ordinances, there are not a lot of examples of ordinances. I did look around the state of Michigan, I looked at Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania, residential lighting ordinance. Many of the municipalities were higher density, but similar to a lakefront. I saw the permitted foot candles anywhere from 5 to 1 foot candle measured at a reasonable amount. I've just
Right.
done a few. Being maximum. Situation where there is a resident. May not even be necessary. For
Right.
residential to non-residential.
Can I ask you, the photo that we had up, what do you estimate that,
Significantly higher.
okay,
Um,
just curious.
20?
I don't have.
Okay,
I think the term would be exponentially high.
okay.
I do have just the app I can use. Here, this being a well-lit room, all this is about 10 foot candles. So at night. Property line at 5.
Yeah, between
I think it is.
5 and
Between 5 and
6.
6 feet from grade. So, I mean, based on all of the examples that I've seen, that I've been able to find. The only other thing I'd like to point out on this. Amount of lumens permitted to be emitted on flag at night.
How many?
Michigan and United States. Find ordinances, not all of them. Upward projected light. I've received some comments, that number may be more suited for, maybe excessive for residential use. I don't know if that is the correct number. For the discretion of judge and installation, and see if it is suitable or not, regardless of the maximum number of lumens being projected on. So, in my opinion, I don't see there any harm leaving it as it is. I mean, it could potentially be removed. Feedback on that, it would necessarily hurt. But that's just one thing.
Ours is
I
much,
believe that we would. I
Yeah.
mean, 7,500 lumens, I mean, it's not
Townships are exempt.
crazy.
They are.
I mean, that's not looking at our headlights, but it's projected up towards, so I mean, if there's a situation where that is causing.
Well, I just don't see, as long as I've been here, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've ever received a complaint about an illuminated flag. And I don't expect that people are gonna run around and start measuring off their phones. You know, it might be a patriotic issue or what, but I just don't see that happening, so,
That one's also a lot more difficult to measure,
Ye-
that's why I'm kind of uncertain.
well, we could just leave the, you know, the board, if the board wants to, we could just leave the board discretion and remove the 75 lumens, or we can leave the 75 lumens as a benchmark, whatever you guys want to do.
I kinda like taking it out and making it discretionary because there's no limit as to how many flagpoles someone could put up, right? If someone were trying to find a way around our ordinance by using this type of, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Put up a flagpole for each flag.
And then you have all this lighting all around a residence.
I see what you're saying.
I wouldn't be opposed to completely removing that. I left that in there to be safe. Several,
I think just the township discretion would be,
that's also keeping in mind that we do have zoning ordinance regulations. We have set standards for non-residential uses already. What this is designed to address, so that, I think we
so if any motions are made, make sure that we include that we strike the 7,500 lumens.
I will
regarding
resolve
flagpoles.
to approve the regulatory ordinance striking the 7,500 lumens. Second.
Been resolved and supported to approve the regulatory ordinance for residential outdoor lighting with removing the 7,500 lumens per flagpole. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Chuck Schultz,
Yes.
Kurt Schultz,
Yes.
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
and I say yes.
For you that are here for this ordinance, we have to, by law, we have to post that ordinance. Once it's posted in the paper, from the date that it's posted in the paper, we have a 30-day period for a challenge, so it will not become effective until 30 days of the posting date. Terry, when will this be?
It's right here,
It's on it.
September 24th.
So,
Will be the
Okay.
effective date.
okay, there we go. So now we've got something to work with. So thank you for being patient. You know, these things take a little bit of time, but yeah, it was needed, so,
I do have a question.
yes.
I'm contracted out to plow the driveway across the street from his house, and he has a or is that something else to bring attention to?
Yeah, actually would call the police because
When it's
he's,
happening.
exactly when it's happening, and if you could get a video of it too,
Distracting
that would be
motor
great,
vehicle.
because you can't, I mean, you're driving a vehicle and he's creating an unsafe condition, and he should be cited for that.
I mean, they will be able to enforce that under this ordinance.
Right.
Or adjacent to the property.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Will the ordinance say that he's gotta be just lighting on his own property?
Well, that's pretty much what it says. I mean, there's still, we have to go out there and measure it. Only so much light can bleed over onto a neighbor's property. And it's not much.
There's neighbors on two doors over on each side that are getting the light from it.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures. I've actually seen them where it's coming, where the lights are off in the house and it's coming through the blinds, and yeah, I would not be very
Okay.
happy, so. I think we did the diligence on it. We made sure that we have an ordinance that will allow us to enforce these type of situations where they're obnoxious. So,
Based on those photos, a lot of that lighting was unshielded, actually projected onto neighboring homes and therefore on properties beyond the adjacent properties. Designed to, it would require shielding of some sort. Project a certain. So if it's shining directly on the property, for example, like the measurement I took in here, far in excess of what would be permitted under the ordinance. That's the kind of measurement we would end up getting. Yeah, it would need to be deflected in a way that at the property line measured from an average acre, it cannot exceed.
If he doesn't comply in 30 days, then who do we contact?
well, what will happen is, after the ordinance becomes valid, we'll go out there and take a light rating, and then we'll start enforcement.
Okay, because he was asked to re-aim the lights before and he did nothing.
Yep. Well, I promised him that if he didn't do that, that I would create a regulatory ordinance and he would not be pleased with it, so.
Thank you.
I held my end of the deal on it, and we will enforce, and if he doesn't comply, I mean, we have several things that we can do. I mean, we send a letter, then we send a secondary letter. We can do civil infractions. I find that civil infractions often don't work, and when it becomes excessive and they reject us, then we send a letter from our attorney. And if they don't want to listen to what the attorney says, then we'll take them to court and we'll show the pictures to the judge. And I'm pretty sure the judge will find that obnoxious as well. So then, a court order is issued. Then, if you do not comply with the court order, you're held in contempt. So contempt can mean fines, it could mean action, it could mean fines, action, jail time, whatever mood the judge is in, and I mean, there's a lot of things that play in. So, I mean, hopefully, we find a violation, we send the letter, and they comply. Otherwise, these things can take time, but just know that we're gonna do what we can to, make sure that we get this resolved one way or another.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
So. So just know that we're gonna do every attempt that we can to get him to comply without having to go through the lengthy process, because not only does it cost us money, but it's gonna cost him a lot, so.
He's a renter, by the way.
Yeah. Well, actually, we'll probably go after the homeowner, so. I don't know, we'll figure it out, we'll let the attorney decide on how we go for that, so, but anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yep, thank you for being patient. Next is Regulatory Ordinance Number 50, Land Division Act. I think we've discussed this several times, not only at the board, but in joint meetings, that we were gonna change the way that we do land divisions, and we wanted to make sure that we were drafting the right ordinance and putting the policy in place and putting a checklist and application in place. I know that Ross and Alexa both worked on putting this application together. We got a lot of information from other townships and municipalities and went through it, and Mark's looked at it, and our planner has looked at it, and our attorney's looked at it, and I think we've got it pretty much where we want it, and Ross I know there's a lot that goes into this, so if you would like to comment.
Yeah, I mean, the whole goal with this was to, the original intent of our land division ordinance that we have now is kind of designed to preserve the system with the master plan, while at the same time updating how the vast majority of municipalities processing these. Act, it basically primarily the assessor. Larger municipalities, middle municipalities, in this instance, what's being proposed is to only have the committee administratively that are not requiring process that we currently have. There are some changes. The biggest puts a little bit less burden on applicants. We would be doing things more within 45 days. And it could be completed from start to finish. Currently, go through the township board. Ultimately, that can drag a process out for a simple land division. A week to 2 weeks. That being said, it not only would expedite the process, but it would also would be less costly. The cost of surveys. The reality is the cost to hold two formal. It's unnecessary in terms of
What is right now, about $1,000 per land split?
well, the cost for a boundary alignment for the application. For an alteration between two boundaries. On top of that, they have the survey cost, which on average are well over 1,000 to so when you're looking to do quarter acre, whatever it may be, swap property with your neighbor, structure is more conforming, thousands of dollars. Would accomplish the same thing. It would assure that the land divisions and realignments comply with all of our requirements, and it would just expedite.
You know, we have discussed fees, since we've last discussed fees for this type of division or realignment. Are we still right around $100?
The application, those are the fees that we came up with a couple weeks ago.
We have the application done.
Yeah. The application's in the packet.
Here.
Do these numbers that, for the standard that this is intended for, do these numbers cover the cost to the township of expenses of labor?
I mean,
and-
if we're doing it internally, I think it could.
Then that should be all that matters.
Additional proposals.
Right.
It's escrow or attorneys or lawyers, so, I mean, it's something there would be an escrow that kind of cover more than the office staff. That can all be changed.
I mean, $100 is not a bad deal.
If it covers everything, right.
Projects like that are gonna require some deep costs.
Also, for example, we've never charged for combinations, and sometimes those are really
And adjusting the fees when the decides to do that with the fees.
We're gonna,
Regardless.
We need to do that.
actually, Ross and I have planned that Thursday, we're going to do some exercises and try to go through our fee schedule. There's some things that we're not charging for that we should be charging for, and there's some things that we're charging too much for. So we're gonna go through that. We're gonna compare it with other municipalities, and hopefully we can come up with some, we will have something for the next board meeting.
At least put some information together to make some decisions.
This land ordinance is, the changes I agree with, and the applications were implemented well. I like them. I only have one question. On page 8, proof of tax payment, proof that the property taxes and assessments have been paid in full. Does that include all special assessments?
It's all assessments,
Okay. So if someone comes in and does a split,
at the discretion of the township.
okay. I feel that they should be. When,
You look at things like, obviously sewer assessment,
right,
where there are have a split, you have to deal with that situation.
Right.
I think they absolutely make sense. The Land Division Act.
good, okay,
The reason behind that.
perfect.
You know, I believe that the township has. Obviously, under the ordinance, we would have authority to require all.
To be paid. Perfect.
So if somebody was on the sewer district and they had $10,000 worth of fees because they had multiple taps assigned to their property, before they could split, they would have to pay all those off?
If a property sells in our township and it's
Well, if
mortgaged,
it sells,
they
yeah, then they have to.
they make you pay them up front.
But if they created a vacant parcel to attach some of their REUs to that parcel, could those be still on the roll, or is that up to the board's discretion?
It's our
or-
discretion to allow them to transfer RUs, right, like we did a year or so ago.
If they
or
had
declined.
contiguous
Yes.
ownership
If-
of property.
Right.
Right, so
Right.
if they
I see what you're
created a
saying.
split.
Right.
So if somebody has 4 splits or 5 splits or 10 REUs, multiple REUs, and say they got 80 acres and they wanna make 2 40-acre chunks, could they split their REUs in half and assess them to each parcel? So if they, whatever that equated out to, however many REUs they had.
It would be under our discretion.
I don't know if they could,
You have
I don't
to
know if they
pay
could
all that
reallocate them,
off.
but what they could do is they could buy more property adjoining and make it part of
Well,
the.
Well, the problem, what I'm saying is they're taking an 80-acre piece of property.
Right.
And they're splitting it down the middle, so the 2 parcels are now conjoining the mother parcel. So
Right.
they could take those, however many
RUs.
RUs they have and create another parcel. But what I think might be a little bit of an issue is if we force that large piece of property to pay off however many RUs they had instantly, they'll never split the property. They'll never create a sellable piece, you know what I'm saying? It may be more of a hardship
So if a,
than
Well,
to force them to pay that off if we know we can, it's conjoining.
Well,
they're
that might be
creating
one of those
parcels.
special circumstances that we take it to the board.
I think we should have some language in there that allows us to review them case by case in situations like that. The other thing that popped to my mind is, let's just say, we have a a farmer that's in the sewer district or something, and they have to connect to the sewer or have to purchase an REU, and let's say one of them died, and we have a 90-year-old lady living in there, and she needs to sell 10 acres to hook up to the sewer. Well, that would make sense. Wouldn't want to stop that.
That's exactly what I'm, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
That
I
would be
think-
kind of a hardship
This
for
is consistent with what we have. Require that everything
Right.
to allow us.
And I think for your,
That's consistent.
your
with the-
common splits, realignments or whatever
But I would
that
say
we're
yes.
doing, I would say, yes, we do it. If there's a special circumstance, then it goes before the board and we make that
Is this
determination.
language just when somebody else reads this and somebody comes to the township for a split, is this language gonna be interpreted, nope, you gotta pay it all off, there's nothing you can do? Is there a protocol for somebody who wants to contest that, or go in front of the board to see if they can get special?
Benefit of having this as a process that's in-house instead of at two separate. Township. Process would allow by all departments that would.
Board.
Assessing and planning and zoning to ensure. It gets to department that would address these. That's where the flag would go up. At that point, you know,
Yeah, I think that we would find out something like that. Someone would come in and ask the question, I have this property that I want to adjoin or split, and this is why I want to do it. And then that would be the trigger right there.
Well, the only reason I ask is that in the rotation of life, and I'm sure not all of us are gonna be on the board or working here forever, the next people coming in interpreting this, if somebody just comes up to ask the question, I need to split, does this assessment have to be paid off? And it's yes, and then they can't afford it, they just turn around and walk away. Is this something that the people of the future of the township are gonna tell people, hey, there's other things you can do, you can go for, is that,
Well, unless we have them fill out the application and then with talking to each department.
Right.
We can let them know
It
that.
would be up to the discretion of each and every board going forward. You know, this board might be a little bit more compassionate, and the next one might not be, and the next one might be more compassionate, don't know, but I think the discretion is there.
boards have the ability to amend the ordinance.
That's true.
right?
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Well, I think this is something that's a long time coming. I think it's gonna definitely, free up the planning commission. It's gonna expedite the process. It's gonna save the applicant money.
Will resolve to adopt the new vision ordinance, the application.
I'll second.
It's been resolved and supported to adopt the land division ordinance. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Kurt Schultz,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
Scott Cunningham,
Yes.
and I say yes.
So that's been resolved. Next is item number 4, it's planning commission appointments. As you know, we've had some people move around. Kurt was on the planning commission, so he's now a trustee, so his position has become vacated. I have a gentleman that actually Marcy, Jennifer, and I have interviewed, and he will be a great addition to the planning commission. His name is Dan Stickle. If anybody has any questions about Dan, I can answer them. Civil engineer, works public works for Waterford. I think his education experience will serve him well in this role.
Comfortable with what, you three?
I'll take a motion then.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and supported to appoint Dan Stickle to the vacant commissioner position. The term will expire 8/31/22. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next is Richard Erickson. He was just appointed to fill a vacant term, and it's already expired, and he would like to stay on for a term that would expire 8/31/22 as well. So he's already on the planning commission, and we'd like to have him back. And he'd like to be back.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to appoint Richard Erickson to the planning commission. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is item number 5, appointment of ex officio of the planning commission. Well, since
I believe
Kurt-
I can vote on that one.
yeah, I don't think you get to. But anyway, Kurt has had some good experience and brought a lot of value to the planning commission as a commissioner, and we're glad that he's a new trustee here, and he would like to be the ex officio member. So if anyone has an objection to it, speak now, or I'll take the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and supported to appoint Kurt Schultz as the ex officio member to the planning commission. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Kurt. And traffic attorney contract. As you know, we have some local ordinances. We've had Holly Battersley, she's been our attorney, and the contract expired. Not often does she have to go to court, but sometimes she has to go to court to defend citations that are written in the township, which we receive proceeds from part of the fines. And we just have to update the contract if we wanted to retain her.
Same pricing as before, or?
Yeah, it hasn't changed. They've been doing that for us now, geez, since I've been here.
$140 an hour for an attorney.
Take it and run.
Yeah, that's cheap.
Move to, is this a renewal, contract renewal? Or is this just a retaining,
It's a renewal.
move to renew their contract?
I'll second.
It's been motioned and supported to renew the contract for the traffic attorney. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Excuse me.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Miscellaneous business, we have none. Public remarks. Anybody would like to make any public comments? Being none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and supported to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Meeting's adjourned. That's my mallet right there.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.